Welcome back, everyone. You may have just ended up purchasing your iPhone 13 Pro, and you may be wondering what are some cool tips and tricks that are suitable for this iPhone. So, this is the iPhone I'm going to be using on an everyday basis. So, let's go and break down some of my favorite things to do on your iPhone 13 Pro that you may or may not know about. Now, first of all, with your iPhone 13 Pro, you do have a Pro Motion display. So, you do have 120 Hz on this panel, which is beautiful, and it's easily one of my favorite things about this iPhone. You do have the ability of turning it off though. If for some reason you don't like it, some people do get like motion sickness from it, which is kind of, interesting. So if you ever want to turn it off, what you can do is you can go down into general settings right here. You can always go down to accessibility, which is right here. And right here where it says motion, you can click motion and you can go and click on limit frame rate. And this will go ahead and limit it from the 120 Hertz down to 60 Hertz. So that's a really cool way to do it. Again, I don't really think people should do it if you own the 13 Pro. But if you ever want to limit it, you have the ability of doing so, and it saves a little bit of battery life as well. Now, another thing with our iPhones, with any iPhone that supports iOS 15, is actually drag and drop. So what this is similar to just like any other device out there, laptops, I think iPads had this for a minute too. If you actually want to go ahead and drag something to a different thing, it's very easy. All you have to do is go ahead and let's say I wanted to drag this image. Well, I can go and hold down the image like this, just like to get into this panel. And you can see that I can now drag and drop the specific thing. So I could go and use my other finger and you can see I'm still dragging this. So let's say I wanted to go and make a new note for my notepad or whatever. Well, I can go and click here, click right there to make a new note, and I can drag this little thing right there. So this is a really bad example, but you can do this with any single, thing that's applicable to drag and drop. This includes images, this includes text, pretty much everything across the board. You can go ahead and do it. And I think it's a really cool, interesting thing. Again, I don't really think people are going to be, this isn't a good example, but you have the ability of doing so with your 13 Pro and as well as any other iPhone that's on iOS 15. Now, another thing with your iPhone 13 Pro that's also supported with most iPhones on iOS 14 is back tap. So what this is essentially you can create custom commands that when you double tap or triple tap the back of your iPhone 13 Pro, you can have your iPhone do something. So in order to do this, what you want to do is you want to open up your settings again. We're going to go back to accessibility. So you want to scroll back down to accessibility right here. You then want to scroll down again until you see touch, which is right here. So you want to tap on touch and then you'll see a couple things that come up, but at the very bottom you'll see back tap. So you want to click here, and what we can do is when we double tap the back of our device, we can have it go ahead and do certain things. So if we want to double tap the back of our device to turn on the flashlight, we'll watch what happens when we double tap the back. The flashlight should go ahead and turn on. At some point, there we go. So now it just turn on. If you double tap it again, it'll go and turn off. Now this is cool because you can be on any app. I think you can even be off the phone and double tap the back of it. So the phone has to be on. So if it's on like this, you can see the flashlight turn on, double tap again, the flashlight turns off. So it's a very cool thing, and you can set it to any other command that you want to, screenshotting, volume down, volume up. I would probably recommend you guys to look into it because it's a really cool little thing, and I'm actually super happy about that feature. And you can also triple tap, so you can have them both on simultaneously, and I think it's a really cool feature as well. Now, another thing with a bigger phone like the 13 Pro Max, but the 13 Pro is also supported, is reachability. So what this is let's say you're on an app like the App Store, for example, and you don't want to keep moving your phone up to click up here. You don't want to go keep clicking up there to get in the the sidebar or something like that. You can actually drag the little bar at the bottom downwards like this. You can actually go ahead and get into reachability mode. So now you can easily go ahead and swipe down on your taskbar up there, or you can go and click swipe down again, and you can easily get into your control center right here. So I think it's a really cool thing. I utilize it all the time, and I would probably recommend you guys to get used to it too, especially if you're not comfortable using bigger phones like this one. And now we get into the fun stuff with the cameras. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and show you, as most of you may know, the camera UI, I mean, it's been the same for a little bit, but you can always get access to more features by clicking the top arrow right there. So you want to click that top arrow, and you can go ahead and see a bunch of different things at the bottom. The flashlight, live photo, filtering, aspect ratio, so many different things. But a new little feature with our iPhone specifically for the iPhone 13 Pros is actually Pro Video, Pro Raw Video, Pro Res Video, whatever it's called. So in order to access this, and I would highly recommend you guys to not do this if you don't know what you're doing because it does take up a lot of storage. But what we can do is we can make our way over to our settings application like this. We can scroll down until we see camera. So it's all the way down here somewhere. So camera right here, click on it. And then if you go and click on record video, which is right here, you will see if we scroll down a couple of different things. So we'll see HDR video, we'll see show PAL formats. I would recommend turning HDR video on. And you can also go ahead and change the specific formats of your video if you'd like. You can go up to 4K at 60, but 1080p is usually the best for me. Now, the first option up here where it says formats, we want to go and click there. And here we can go ahead and change up our specific photo formats. But the new little thing that we have now with our 13 Pros and 13s, but 13 Pros is a cool feature, is the Apple ProRes video capture mode. So what this is it essentially will go ahead and actually give us the option of turning on ProRes video, which is apparently from them one of the most popular formats for video professionals, yada, yada, yada. Essentially 10-bit HDR ProRes. It's a crazy cool camera, it's a crazy good way of filming videos, but again, it takes a lot of storage, so keep that in mind. They say a minute of video on this format is 1.7 gigs. So if you're shooting a video that's 5 minutes, you guys can do the math. It's almost 10 gigabytes or 9 point whatever it is. Now go ahead and swipe out of here once you go ahead and enable this if you want to turn it on, and we can make our way back to our camera photo. We can go back into camera, and when we click on video, you will see a new option right up here that says ProRes. So now what you can do, if you want to mess with it, I would recommend doing it, but I wouldn't recommend filming all your videos like this. You can go ahead and enable ProRes like this, and it tells you the maximum amount of time you can do this is 52 minutes. So now what you can do is you can go ahead and start filming if you'd like, and you can pretty much move on from there. Now, like I mentioned, it takes up a lot of storage, so I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a really cool feature, and I'd recommend you guys to look into it if you like. Now, on top of this, you also have Pro RAW photo capture, which is essentially a little bit better quality of, photos and everything, which is also really cool. So that's another really awesome feature and another ability that you have here. So again, you have a lot of different things all across the board, which allow you to kind of gain more features of your iPhone, which is amazing. Now, on top of this, with something like live text, which is an iOS 15 exclusive feature, this is awesome because the iPhone 13 Pro also supports this. So if I go into my camera module right here, you can see I have this specific photo, right? It's a photo, it's not text it's not like a, notepad or something like that. Well, with iOS 15, you can actually go ahead and highlight text on a photo. So you can see that I just literally downloaded this image and you can now copy text from it, which is amazing. And it's a really cool feature. So now if you want, you can go and click copy. And if I wanted to, I can go and make my way over to my notepad like this. I could go and click out of here like this, go and click paste. And you can see that for the most part, it did a pretty good job at actually keeping the same text and pretty much moving on from there. So that's another really cool feature. If you're somebody who's actually planning on utilizing, like maybe you take notes or something like that, well, if you go ahead and use your iOS 15 device, you can actually unlock a ton of cool features like this in and of itself. So that's another really awesome thing. Now, another big thing I want to tell you guys about the iPhone 13 Pro is the battery life. The battery life on this device from my test that I ran is amazing. It has substantially better battery life than the iPhone 12 Pro. And because of that, you probably won't have to ever enable things like low power mode, or you might not have to worry too much about, how the battery life is. But just in case you ever want to turn on low power mode, it's very easy. All you want to do is swipe down from the top right and you'll come into this panel. Now, if for some reason you don't have the low power mode toggle here like I don't, you want to go and click on settings, you want to click on control center here, you want to scroll down and you want to find low power mode, which is right here, click plus, and as long as it's right here, you're pretty much set. So now what you can do is scroll down and you can enable low power mode like this, and it's going to go ahead and limit the frame rate back down to 60 Hertz, and it's also going to go ahead and just kind of slow down your iPhone in general and make your iPhone a little bit slower, but it's going to enhance the battery life of your iPhone. So that's another really awesome feature for sure. Again, not a necessity, but it's something I'd recommend you guys to look into as well. So those are just a few awesome little tricks and tips for your iPhone 13 Pro that I'd recommend you guys to look into if you'd like. I'm probably going to utilize a lot of these in my own personal experience, but that's just one way to do it. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.